Imagine standing at the edge of the sea. Waves wash over your feet. A wave comes, and you step back. A stronger one arrives, and you step back again, and before you know it, you're standing far from where you began. This is how we often act with people. We give ground. We back away, not because we want to, but because we're trying to be nice. Today, I want to ask a simple question. Can being nice be harmful? And even more important, what would the ancient Stoics say about it? What it means to be nice? Such a nice person. It sounds like praise, but often, it's a mask. A mask that hides a fear of rejection, a fear of conflict, a fear of not being enough. A story of a man. At work, he was always the nice one. Never refused, always smiled, even when it hurt. One day his boss told him, "You're reliable, but you're invisible. People don't know what you really want." He realized that years of quiet kindness weren't appreciated. They were ignored. The Stoics would say, "Who tries to please everyone ends up pleasing no one, not even himself." Stoic kindness. The Stoics never rejected kindness. They honored it. But they saw the difference between genuine kindness and kindness rooted in fear. Seneca said, "Kindness is a virtue, but virtue never bows. True kindness is firm. It stands on values. It doesn't bend to win approval. It doesn't betray itself to avoid discomfort." When kindness becomes harmful, kindness becomes dangerous. When you start burying your feelings, when you apologize for things you didn't do, when you say yes, while every part of you whispers no. It's like a wooden bridge that bends under every step. It seems gentle, but no one trusts it. And eventually, not even the bridge itself. The Stoics knew, without boundaries, there is no peace. And without peace, there is no strength. What is in my control? Marcus Aurelius wrote every morning. It doesn't matter what they do. It matters what I choose. This is the core of Stoicism. You cannot control the reactions of others. You cannot control what they think of you. You cannot control whether they praise you or criticize you. But you can always control your own actions, your words, your boundaries. When you're too nice, you're trying to control the uncontrollable, the approval of others. That's not kindness. That's fear wearing a polite smile. How to be kind and strong. The Stoics taught 3 forms of true kindness. First, honesty, speaking the truth, calmly and directly, even when it's uncomfortable. Second, boundaries, saying no with respect. No is not an attack. No is self-respect. Third, calmness, responding with composure, not from fear, not from the emotions of others. That is real strength. The 5 Stoic habits. If you want to be kind and firm, the Stoics recommended 5 habits. 1. Morning reflection. What is under my control today, and what isn't? 2. Evening review. Where did I act from fear instead of virtue? 3. Voluntary discomfort. Make things harder sometimes. The body grows through effort, the mind too. 4. Separation from emotions. Don't say I am angry. Say I notice I feel anger. 5. Helping without expectation. Give because it is right, not because you want applause. Final thought. Being nice is not bad. Being kind is beautiful. But being so nice that you disappear, that breaks you. The Stoics would tell you, you cannot be a pillar for others if you aren't solid yourself. So today, I invite you to one thing. Be kind to yourself. Protect your boundaries. Speak your truth, calmly, firmly, and you will see the world respond differently. Be kind, but be strong. That is the path of true character. Who are you when no one needs you to be nice? Maybe you've once stopped and asked yourself a strange question. Who am I when I'm not helping anyone? Who am I when no one needs anything from me? Who am I when I don't have to be nice? And maybe you weren't sure about the answer, because many people mistake their value for their usefulness, their kindness, their willingness to always be there for others. But the Stoics said, Character is revealed when you are alone. So ask yourself again, what is my character when I take off the mask of the nice person? What remains? Maybe strength, maybe calm, maybe a truth you didn't even know lived inside you. And maybe you'll find that niceness was never meant to be your identity, only your choice. Sometimes the greatest kindness is refusing to yield. Imagine someone comes to you. They need you. They're confused, hurt, exhausted, and you don't want to disappoint them. So you give them everything. Your time, your energy, your peace. Even when it costs you pieces of yourself. But what if that's actually harming them? What if you're giving them strength they're supposed to find inside themselves? What if you're taking away the lesson they need to grow? The Stoics said, help, but do not be dragged. Support, but do not carry. Listen, but do not take on a weight that was never meant for you. Sometimes the greatest kindness is not stepping back, but standing firm, not for yourself, but for the other person. People will either respect you or use you. It's a harsh truth. But the world works this way. When you're too nice, people start seeing you as someone who can be pushed, pulled, shaped to whatever they need. But when you have boundaries, when you have a firm tone, a calm no, an unwavering posture, when you stand on your values, the world begins to treat you differently. Some people will leave. Yes, that happens, because you stop serving their comfort. But the right people, they stay, and they begin to respect you. And respect is much stronger than affection. Affection is shallow. Respect is deep. Respect lasts. What does life feel like without fear of judgment? Try to imagine it. You wake up, and you don't squeeze yourself into someone else's expectations. You don't think about who might be offended, who will approve, who will be pleased. You act, you speak, you respond, calmly, respectfully, but as yourself. And suddenly the world doesn't weigh on you. Suddenly you don't feel pressure. Suddenly you breathe. Epictetus said, he who acts according to his values cannot be a slave. And that is a kind of freedom you can't replace with anything else. Something inside you opens. Something straightens. As if you stopped walking, hunched, for the first time in years. And suddenly you realize that kindness doesn't have to hurt. It can be strength. A wise no is the most loving word you can say. It may sound strange, but the word no is often the kindest thing you can give someone. No can stop a person who is running toward disaster. No can protect your peace. No can teach others respect. No can be the lesson no one else can offer. And even more, no gives power to your yes, because a person who says yes to everything is not saying yes to anything. The Stoics said, there is nothing more valuable than self-control, and self-control often begins with one word, no. What does real firmness look like? This part is important. Firmness is not aggression. Firmness is not dominance. Firmness is not stubbornness. Firmness looks like this. You answer calmly, not sharply. You explain instead of defending. You speak your feelings without fear. You refuse without guilt. You stand up for yourself without anger. You stay polite, but not bendable. That is strength respected even by those who disagree with you. The Stoics had a rule: be firm like stone, but quiet like water. And such firmness is not forced. It's natural, and above all, liberating. And maybe one day you'll realize that you're no longer trying to please anyone, that you're no longer waiting for approval, that you do what is right, not what is comfortable. And suddenly you notice that people around you start acting differently. Some step back because they lost the control they once had over you. But others, the ones who can see deeper, begin to approach you with respect. And that's when you understand that being nice was never the mistake. The mistake was forgetting yourself. Because real kindness doesn't come from fear. It doesn't come from guilt. It doesn't come from the need to be liked. It comes from firmness, from calm, from the person who no longer fears standing tall. And when you learn to stand like that, the world stops feeling so heavy, and you won't just be nice, you'll be strong. And if today's thoughts gave you something, if they helped you breathe a little easier, you might find even more here that will guide you further. If you want, leave a like or subscribe. Not to please the algorithm, but to show that you want to continue this journey with me. Thank you for being here. And remember, strength isn't harshness. It's the calm you protect every day.